Roses, sweet roses, opening all around. Roses, sweet roses, opening with ancient sound. Sweet Mother Mary, guide my way on. Sweet Mother Mary, guide my way home through music, sweet music, opening all around. Music, sweet music, opening with ancient sound. There you will find the love you seek. There you will find the love that you seek. You will know by the flowers in her hair, and you'll know the scent in the air. Roses, sweet roses, opening all around. Roses, sweet roses, opening with ancient sound.
So we are exploring the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and what a perfect fitting backdrop for Mother's Day, I think. A key element that the Gospel of Mary Magdalene brings forward is this idea of anthropos, that we are both fully human and fully divine, equally. And that was ultimately the message, the life message that Jesus sought to exemplify as well, not just for himself, of course, but for humanity to recognize that duality, if you will. It's not actually dual, it creates a whole of a person, spiritual and human. And as I said last week, in the formation, what would go forward to become the formation of the Catholic and Christian Church, the version that was highlighted in Scripture, particularly where Jesus was concerned, was to elevate his divinity and to make him above all else, including and most especially us. And in so doing that as well, what do I want to say about that? I wish my mind was a little more clear sometimes. These are the things I'm not supposed to say when the mic's on. But separating us from our true potential and our true capacity to be both human and divine. And in that kind of lifting up and glorifying the divinity, somehow making our humanity less than. Sinful, in fact, is how it came down through the Scripture, right? And the Gospel of Mary proclaims first and foremost that we are inherently good. And in fact, much of what Jesus taught was the same. But that often we can get caught up in ways internally that make us think different, that make us think that we are not inherently good, and make us act that out sometimes in ways that cause damage. You know, the term sin is an archery term. Many of you know this. It simply means to miss the mark. Then you just try again, right? It's not like, oh, that's it. One chance, you're out. And Mary Magdalene Revealed, Megan Watterson says this, that sin is simply forgetting the truth and reality of the soul and then acting from that forgetful state. But the human body, the human mind, is not innately sinful itself. It's just when we believe that we are only this body, only these insatiable needs, these desires, and these fears that our ego can conjure up. Sin, then, is when we believe we are only this body and we act accordingly, not remembering. So we mistake our ego for the true self rather than remembering that the true self is the soul, right? That eternal capacity of us that is not of this earth, is occupying this vessel for this time, and this vessel is really needed. It's the whole point. We wouldn't be here without it. And so to be grateful for it, to recognize its wisdom, to go ahead and embody it, enjoy it, but also connect with that part that knows we're not just that. Because when we think we're just that, we get caught up. And it's easy to get caught up. Megan Watterson refers to the soul in terms of, describes it like this, that the soul is the eternal aspect of our being, an aspect that allows us to feel loved and to experience that we are love. And that our humanity is not intrinsically sinful or shameful. This human body is the soul's chance to be here. And it's not all that we are. So what Mary Magdalene, said to have been cured of 7 demons by Jesus, we've already gone over she's not a prostitute. I'm just going to give you a quick flash. If you weren't here last week, look back. I defunct that. Really, what the gospel seems to indicate is that she, in that healing experience, was able to have a lived experience of overcoming these climates, these powers of the ego that trick us and harm us. And so she, in her gospel, she's leaving a template for humanity, not because we're bad and wrong, but because we will likely get caught up as well. Anybody else? Okay. You're in the right place. I'm in the right place, let me say it that way. So, I love the idea of instead of how far Mary fell, we can consider how much she overcame. And you can consider that for yourself. We often look at the mistakes we've made or the missteps or the regrets, right? And we hold them against ourselves instead of what am I learning through that? How am I growing through that? The great teacher Eric Butterworth used to say, it's not enough just to go through life, let's grow through life, right? So Mary's gospel speaks of 7 climates of the ego. I like that, like weather systems, that they just get us all wound up. 7 is the number of stages we need to go through, or the powers we need to confront within ourselves to reach a clarity or a singularity of heart that lets us see past the ego of our own little lives to what's more real and lasting and infinite and already here. Oh! We're not present to it when we're caught up in, this egoic operating system will have us lamenting over the past or worrying over the future like that. Meanwhile, what's happening right now? Who knows? So these are the climates, the states of mind that can compel us to act in ways that are not indicative of who we really are. They silence us from within. That's so interesting. Because many times the journey for me has been, it's really about all these people out here that aren't doing it right, starting with, first and foremost, my mother. What planet are you from, and why am I related to you? So, darkness is the first of these powers that we are exploring today. I'm not going to list them all to you because some of their names are horrifically intimidating. Until we can talk about them, I don't want to list them. Darkness is the power of the ego that separates and divides us. It deludes us into thinking that we are or could ever be separate and disconnected. And it is compelling, leaving us feeling like we are ultimately all alone. She likens this, and this is a good example, right? You could be sitting next to someone and the lights go out and you're not sure they're there. You can't see them. You have to sense, right? The literal darkness, you can be with another person and begin to doubt it. Then you get into the darkness of isolation or alienation or all the other experiences we may have where we feel, I am all alone in this. I'm either all alone in this or because I'm all alone, I'm in this. Right. Can you have faith in the darkness that compels you to feel alone? That you are still connected to spirit, connected to others, connected in love, connected even to those who have left the physical realm. As I said, I'm still working through things with my mother, and it's beneficial. It's still possible. There's all this psychology today that you can actually nurture yourself. I won't ask you, sometimes I like to say, which one of your mothers got it perfect? So when this power of darkness, of the ego, kicks in to convince us that we are alone, can we take a breath to connect with, first of all, that's not actually possible. If we believe that we come from this one source of life, we have that source within us, and we share it among each other and all of creation, we literally can't quite be alone. We can feel alone, which can feel terrorizing. And it's not to diminish that reality that feels so real, but to call upon a deeper one that we are learning to remember. Mary's gospel opens with this line. There are several pages missing, 4 pages missing in the beginning. So it starts with Mary 2:2 with this beautiful line. Every nature, every molded form, every creature exists in and with each other. And there's just part of our mind that just can't quite get that. And that is where we call upon the wisdom of our heart that knows it. That knows it. Megan Watterson equates that scripture, every nature, every molded form, every creature exists in and with each other. She says this is the most eloquent way to describe love. It's a love that renders us equal. It's a love that says, I'm not separate from you. We exist in and with each other. It's a love that reaches everything and everyone. In the early Jesus movement, proximity to power had to do with proximity of the heart. That sure got switched. The other thing that got switched, that got hidden, if you will, is this idea of gnosis, that we all internally have a direct personal connection with divine love. We actually don't need someone to do it for us. But we have to know to look there, we have to believe what we find there, and we have to take time to connect there. The soul speaks in the silence. The ego gets real loud. Have you noticed? So the idea is to find a practice that helps you hear the voice of love over the voice of ego. You're not going to silence it. We need our ego. We wouldn't be here on time. I wouldn't have the right shoes on. I wouldn't remember your name. Some of these things still happen, but... So we don't want to alienate it, because then it gets louder. We just see what it did. Okay, that's what you do. I want to get in the driver's seat from this heart of love, from this soul power that I am here to express. And then life takes it up an ante. And I can find it everywhere I look. I recently did a memorial service for Carol Wick. A few of you were there. And I really resonated. Her daughter spoke. And I could sense that it had been a complicated relationship on some level. I didn't even need to know the details. She loved her mother very much. She was struggling with the loss of her mother. But what she said really rang true for me, and I share this with you. For my own experience, was as she's 50 years old now, the daughter, and as the process of losing her mom and coming to terms with that, and sort of just coming to terms with the fullness of their relationship, she could suddenly see her mother as a person. She wasn't just a mother. That was one part of her life. She was a lover and a learner and a creator and an explorer, and she struggled to know the things that we struggle to know. It's so interesting how, particularly our parents, boy, that role is so heavy. It's very, very important, of course, to our early life. But this is a human being also navigating a human life, right? And in that moment, and of course, I was crying. I was like, I've got to get it together. This is not my mother's funeral. I did. Don't do an evaluation on me. I did. But as the video was going, and you could see her in her youth and then in her middle ages, and then it was like, yeah. And her being her mother, I'm sure was a central part to her, the woman who passed. I know it was. And I think of my mom. I was like, oh, all that she came from. That was horrific. And I know that the work that she did at all was propelled. She told me, if it wasn't for you, I may not even be here. Like, I want to be better. I want to learn. I want to. It's like, could you just hurry up? You are driving me crazy. And the other part of that is it wasn't until, and I've said this before too, it wasn't until I became a step parent. I somewhat consciously chose, as the roses out there give you an option, not to become a mother. In part, I think because of the challenge I had experienced, and in part, there's other reasons, it doesn't matter, That was not the role that I felt called to. And so when I became a step parent at the baby age of 46, I was real set in my ways, baby. That was the experience that also made me go, oh, I got to give my mom some slack here. Because every single look you give the kid, it means something. Like, no, I'm just tired, man. But I realized I didn't give that leniency to my own mom. You know, it was like, you did this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. So this is my experience for you, a lived reality of what these climates, right? So, and the other thing about my experience is I felt very alone in that. I felt like everyone else had the best mother, the perfect mother. They were the Hallmark mothers. I had to make my own card because none of them applied. But the truth was, she just loved me to death. But it was just so challenging, right? And so it's not really about, I'm not trying to center my experience. I'm really just centering how complicated relationships are and human beings are, and how easy it can be for us to get caught in this egoic state of thinking we're alone. And you know what? It's not only that we're alone and we have to figure things out. The flip side of that is, even when we have people that are in our life wanting to care for us and help us, we don't take it because we're in this rote of, I got to do this alone. And then, oh, look what? I'm alone. See, told you. Well, we're all here, but you don't let us in. So the key is to find a practice that helps you hear the voice of love over that voice of the ego that will insist you're not lovable, or you should have been loved more, or all the stories it will tell, all the reasons why you need to count on yourself, build yourself up, know that you can't count on anyone. You know your version. And if we didn't have this experience, here's the catch. As long as we do something here, it will be to our benefit. Because if we didn't have this experience of darkness, this experience of feeling separate and disconnected, we wouldn't know to find the place within us that isn't disconnected. We wouldn't be pushed to do that and call upon that. And what we find there, in my experience, does return me back to my heart, does return me back to the fullness of connection, the fullness of love. I can see my mother in her full humanity and still know her divinity. So the darker it gets, the deeper the call to love. This sort of self-emptying love. The love that frees us from the traps of separation. So we'll have a moment or a few moments to connect in meditation here. Just reminding us that the soul lives in the silence, the stillness we have to meet with inside of us. And words tend to be the ego's favorite outfits. Words are how the ego breathes and fuels the flames of thoughts that start replaying inside of us from the second we wake up. So our capacity to just see that and go deeper through our breath, first and foremost. A single breath returns us to our heart. So just invite you to take a breath now. I'll play the singing bowl that invites us to drop from our head to our heart. So just take a deep breath, feeling your feet on the ground, the chair supporting your back, allowing your full presence to just be right here, right now. Your breath is your tool. Closing your eyes or lowering your gaze. As we take a breath, catch our breath, and connect with our heart, we can explore what's calling us there, what's residing there. And recognize that the antidote for this climate of darkness that we've been talking about, that works to disconnect us from the wisdom of the soul, which knows that we are forever connected to all life, in all circumstances, in all ways. We are connected to more good than we can ever imagine. And certainly that default system of ours can conceive of. Its focus is to keep us safe at all times, even when we don't need it. So we just notice how that illusion of separation that leads us so easily to believe that we are all alone also disconnects us from the people right here, right now that support and love us. Can also disconnect us from those who have passed as we close our heart down, perhaps. We're reminded that through the eternal language and connection of love, we are always connected. And so let a third breath lead you to scan your life for those people, mothers or otherwise, who have nurtured you and cared for you and connected you in ways big or small. Guided you, loved you, held you. Opening up to what they offered you, and offering a moment of appreciation through the language of love, gratitude for their believing in you, for their showing up for you. See that as a reflection of your true soul nature, which they see on some level, even when you don't. And know also that you are that person for someone. So connect with your own desire to support those that you love, those on the path. As we remember our deep connection with one another, remembering who and what we are as both equally, perfectly human and fully divine. As we remember that fullness, we can, yes, embark on deep healing of our own self. And a radiation of love out into the world. Remembering that at the depth of us, all of us, lives this great, big, unsayable love that can hold it all. This is what we are remembering. I invite you to bring your awareness back to this time and space, and just want to highlight to be gentle with yourselves. That's the work of that operating system that is so critical. We'll single you out in a moment. And we want to remember, as Elizabeth Gilbert said, gently remember a time when you once considered yourself your friend. I like to think, I know that that is really the heart of motherhood, of nurturing, of compassion, of intuition. To hold those young hearts and lives loosely so that they can become who they're meant to be, as we are all working to do as well. So I wish you a happy Mother's Day, however you are experiencing it, and to just hold all that life and roles bring, right? Now is a time in our service where we give of our good in support of what we do here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver, which is made possible solely by your generous donations, so thank you. We have ushers that are coming down that they can collect your cash or check. And there's also a way you can give electronically in your bulletin. There's a QR code that you can scan that will take you to our platform for giving electronically. So thank you for that.
So my mom was the best mom, okay? Not perfect, not a Hallmark mom, not a Betty Crocker or a June Cleaver, not even close. But she was the best for me. She was a music teacher. She was my music teacher and everybody in our town's music teacher. She was the elementary music teacher for 35 years. Yeah, I know, right? And she bred me to perform, okay? That's why she would always, and it was very important to me very early on that I was going to become a superstar. And so she fostered that in everything I ever did. And every year for my birthday, I'd get a card that said, "To my superstar." August 2nd, whatever year it was. That's my birthday, I'm a Leo. And I know, right, okay. So she put me in a really frilly Martha miniature dress and black patent leather shoes, sat me on top of the piano at our little country church when I was 5, and handed me a microphone. As soon as I heard my voice amplified, I was addicted. She knew it. So when I decided to come out and I was an artist activist, she was right there. She came to the gay bars to hear me play. She came to Pride Fest to see my band. And then in 2007, we lost her to breast cancer. And so I shut everything up in the studio and went through a really, really deep depression. For a year, I didn't play, I didn't perform, I didn't sing, I didn't write. If she wasn't here, then it didn't make any sense to me. If she's not here to experience this with me, then I don't want to do it. But almost exactly a year after she passed away, I was walking down the hallway, and I stopped at the studio door, and I looked at it for a while, and I opened it up, and I sat down at my piano, and this song fell out. 10, 15 minutes tops, and I'm playing and singing and playing and crying. And it was gifted to me by my mother, I'm convinced. It's from her point of view, talking to me, basically saying, get off your butt and do what I put you on this earth to do. Summer Lachey Osborne. So this is called Lucky Star. Little girl, how your eyes just sparkle. Someday you're gonna use them to make people stop and notice. Make them stop and notice you. I see that burning hunger to go out and change the world. So pack your bags now, baby, 'cause you're gonna make it, girl. Go and live your passion. 'Cause when you sing, people listen. You're bigger, you're better than this ordinary life. That's why I put you on that stage when you were only 5. Now I'll be here right beside you, even if you can't see me from where you are. I'll be up here watching. I'm your lucky star. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to compromise anything that you want or who you are inside. So I'll do everything it takes so that you won't forget that you're my superstar and I'm your biggest fan. Go and live your passion. watching, 'cause when you sing, people listen. You're bigger, you're better than this ordinary life. That's why I put you on that stage when you were only 5. And I'll be here right beside you, even if you can't see me from where you are. I'll be up here watching. I'm your lucky star. And the night came down with the air so sweet. There were stars all around, and she sang to me. You're bigger, you're better than this ordinary life. That's why I put you on that stage when you were only 5. And I'll be here right beside you, even if you can't see me from where you are. You're bigger, you're better than this ordinary life. That's why I put you on that stage when you were only 5. Now be here right beside you, even if you can't see me from where you are. I'll be up here watching. Oh, I'll be up here watching. I'm your lucky star.